Moin, hallo zum Filmfest Bremen. Mein Name ist Yugen.
Und ich bin Susanne und wir beide sind vom Indiefilmtalk Podcast und dürfen heute zu dem Spielfilm BEING GAVIN die beiden Regisseure Mark und Owen begrüßen. Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi Mark and
G'day.
hi Owen.
Hello.
Good to see you. I
You too.
I just heard it's really early, Owen, where you are. You are in New York. It's around 5 o'clock. And Mark, you are in Sydney.
Sydney?
And it's like 7:30 in the evening. So,
That's right.
So my question to you, are you a tea or a coffee type? Mark?
Tea, absolutely. I gave up coffee about 12 years ago, so I'm tea. I'm a tea nut, actually.
And Owen?
Yeah, I'm in the land of Starbucks and coffees, but I am a tea person. And Mark and I have had many cups of tea over the course of making this film.
So you are more in the world of Gavin.
Yes.
Yes, we couldn't edit. During the editing, I think we drank liters of tea. And any on a
So Gavin, when we see Gavin in the film, I had the feeling he's a really, really lovely person, and he's in this coffee. Oh no, we just lost Mark.
Where is Mark?
Oh no. Please,
I'm so
please
sorry.
come back. Bye, Mark. Oh, we love you. We've got a nice still shot.
Yeah.
No, there is. Okay.
Hello.
We just continue. Hello, Mark. Nice to have you back.
I went, did I?
You did.
I don't know.
He didn't.
Somewhere in the cyberspace.
That's good.
Okay.
Yes, I
No
just
worries.
got a thing saying that. Anyway, here I am again.
Really cool. We just continue. And being Gavin, I mean, he's a really lovely person. He just is in this coffee shop, and then Samantha just comes around and rules his world. And after 20 minutes, you just notice, okay, this lovely guy, where I really wish that everything went well, he's married. He has a son and he has a proper family life. And so actually I'm asking, are a lot of Gavins around you, men and women Gavins?
Do you mean in terms of attitude, or in terms of the having an affair while being married?
Both.
Oh, I see. Yes, well, I think because with Jamie Oxenbould, who played Gavin, and Kath Moore was Samantha, we started these characters as a play many years ago. So they improvised these characters, and so Gavin was based on a couple of people that Jamie knows, and then I took that and did the script version with Sarah Bavalenta. So then we formed another version of Gavin, but it was based on various people we knew. So to answer your question, yes, we probably are surrounded by a few Gavins.
Yeah, I think that's right. And I think for me, it's about relationships. And it's interesting, there are different kinds of relationships. There are different kinds of family dynamics. We don't always make the best decisions. Sometimes we think we're making good decisions. Sometimes we think we're being selfish. Sometimes we think we're helping people. Sometimes it just takes all forms. So the human condition is very strange. It's very interesting. But I think in terms of, this sort of a Gavin character, there are many people that have seen the film that have spoken to me and Mark that have either been the son or the daughter of someone who had an affair. They've been the person that had the affair. They've been the person that fantasized about having the affair. So there's so many ways that you can take it. But what I really like about this version of a Gavin is that you feel for him, you like him. He's a likable liar, and so in that sense, he helps draw the audience into this story and into his world, and we really get to be part of that journey as opposed to just a passive observer. We get to make choices.
Shall I?
Yeah.
You're looking to me, so I have directly the perfect question at this point, because I love the complexity of the characters you developed. So that's why I would like to know how did the developing started of the characters.
Well, as I say, we improvised the characters originally for a play. I wrote the play, and Jamie and Kath performed those characters. Then, when we came to the film script, I wrote that with Sarah based on those characters, but we took them into a completely different place. So there's nothing really to do with the play, just a few bits and pieces. But by the time we came to film, and by the time Owen and I had also talked about the script and developed it to the point where we were happy about it being filming, Jamie and Kath had lived with those characters for about 10 years on and off. So they knew them really, really well. So all the interaction between them was, they knew it. It was sort of, it was in their DNA. So it was easy enough then when we came to film, because they knew exactly where to launch off, what to do, and how to play those roles. We rarely gave them direction in terms of character, only maybe in terms of, sometimes in terms of performance, or you know, but we did very few takes, because they were so embedded in who they were playing, and neither of them are like the characters you see on screen. Completely the opposite. Jamie's such a cool, laid-back guy, and Kath's just a wonderful, genuine, lovely person. But they play them so well. People are convinced that they are them. You know.
Mm.
I really like how you switch around. Like Gavin is actually a really nice guy doing all the homework stuff as well. And I was thinking about how did you actually thought about, or do you have a scene where you think, oh, Gavin, if you would tell everybody the truth, everybody would be fine, and actually you could live maybe with both of them. Maybe we are not. Maybe we are in a time where we could society change to have other styles of love culture. Do you think there's a scene where you could change the whole story?
Yeah, totally. I think it's possible.
Yes, it is possible. It's the pity that Gavin hasn't got that within him. Well, he does at the
Yeah,
end. That's his journey in a way. You know, his honesty. He has to face himself and face when he's pretty. When finally at the graveyard he's put on. You know, he has to admit where he still tries to get out of it. I think it's just it's about being true to yourself, but also and being honest, and living honestly is very difficult. We all find that difficult. And I think that was one of the starting points, and one of the discussions we had with the actors, and also Owen and I talked a lot about that, you know, about those choices you make, and then you have to live with them. Gavin wants to please everybody, and by doing that pleases nobody, really.
yeah.
I noticed the music, and you've heard it as well. There's German music in it, and of course, I was thinking about you are in Sydney, you are in New York, so where did you get the music from? Bees. What is the story behind it?
The bees are the bees are the band that did the music, the majority of the music, and they're my wife's uncle. They're both at the end playing the song at the end, and Owen and I were looking for some music to go with some of the scenes, and we put the bees on because I know them and they're really terrific. And you know, the more you put on something for a track, just to as an example, the better it seemed. And we both looked at each other and went, actually, you know what, this is perfect. And then we convinced them to be in the film too, which is the first shot we ever did, with them playing, with Kath singing at the end. So all their songs are original, and they were absolutely delighted. And the fact that Dieter, who plays the accordion, is German, was great, because we just loved it. It gave it an extra edge, an extra bit of curiosity in terms of where that music's coming from. It was slightly unusual because it's set in Sydney, but we felt that worked really, really beautifully. And of course, they're beautiful performers too.
Interesting. I would like to jump ahead and talk about the comedy part of the movie, and to ask you, because you said that you were so long involved in this process, in the script, because it was before the play, and how open was you by the shooting for that the cast can add like improvised scenes or parts or bits into the play, or was you like very close to the script which you wrote?
It was very close, actually. But Owen, I think we would do. I can't remember. I think Owen would say, "Great, that's great." They'd do the script version, then they might improvise a bit. And there's quite a few improvisations that went in there, wasn't that right?
Yeah, I think we set ourselves a few rules, but one of the rules was we needed to keep it very concise, the shoot. So we gave everyone 2 takes and then a third for like improvisation, and the actors were so brilliant and the script was so brilliant, there was a lot to play from, and they really enjoyed that. And I think Mark was about to say some of the moments that we got from the improvisation that made it into the final cut are some of the most lovely bits in the film.
And sometimes it sounds like an improvisation, but that it's really well rehearsed, which I find when I'm watching the film again really curious. I think, wow, that sounds like he just completely made that up. But that's because they're such good performers.
And good writing.
You have a really
Well, thank you.
yes, of course. You have a really unexpected and brave ending. I think, like, it's not this cheesy happy ending and the boy gets the girl. They both have they both found their way that they would like to be and which kind of life they want to live, and you show that really bravely. Was there ever a situation where you thought, I would like to give them a happy ending?
No, we never.
Or is that a happy ending?
Discussed that, Owen, did we? No, we never discussed the happy. We always just went with the ending. We loved it, because it has that poignancy to it, and the actors loved it. So when Jamie and Kath were improvising, I set up an improvisation where they had to say goodbye to each other in the pub, but in the bar when we were improvising. But I didn't tell Kath that was going to happen. So Jamie and they did this splitting up scene in improv, and she just burst into tears, and she got in a car and drove over the bridge, and that was the end of the 3 weeks improvisation. And she felt that was so moving that we all felt, well, that had to be the end of the film. It'd have been very neat for them to get together, but not true to life. Life isn't true to that, and also you can't trust Gavin again, even if he's saying he's reformed. From her point of view, she doesn't need to be messed about anymore. And she says, in another life we could have been great. And that's a choice that they want to be together, but I think for their sanity and for a better life, they need to walk away.
Do you think?
I think there's also a little bit of an optimism of that they might catch up for a coffee.
Do you think?
Yeah, I think there is. There's that room just for there's just that room there for that openness. It's left a little open. Yes, we know that they're going to head off in their own directions, but will they get back together? Will they not? It's a nice ending, and I think for us, it's an ending that always seemed to make sense, and always we wanted to show, wanted to explore, and see that on screen.
It's very truthful.
For being Gavin too.
Yeah. Did you think about what would happen next with Gavin? If we would go on with him, what will happen? Will he do it again, or you think he learned something out of it?
I'd like to think he has. I think he has. I think he's a better person because his son comes to live with him. They've got a good relationship. He's not, his ex-wife isn't talking to him, but I think he's learned a lot. I think they both have, and that's the beauty of it, that Samantha knows that she's doing what she's wanted to do and be a singer rather than talk about it. And Gavin has a future of being honest. That's what we hope anyway. Until Being Gavin 2, the search for Spock or something, then we'll find out.
But it's true. I mean, it's very much a crafted piece that we've made. But at the same time, it's a moment in time of these characters' lives where they've intersected, and it's interesting to see that moment in time. So I'm not sure how we would have to find the right stakes to continue that character, but definitely we spent a bit of time talking about it and imagining what would happen next for Gavin, for Samantha, and for all of the characters, really, except for poor old Doug. He passed away.
Comedy is always. Comedy is always.
I mean, he could come back as a zombie.
That would be pretty cool. I would
That's our
like to
next
see
film.
that.
Great one.
Yes.
Yeah, Doug Zombie.
Gavin zombie.
Doug the Zombie, that's good.
So, and maybe we could add some aliens too.
Yeah. Gavinland. We will call it
Yeah.
Gavinland.
Oh,
Gavinland.
Gavin, I like that
Let's
one.
call it Gavinland, and
Yeah.
we wrote it now. It's on camera, so you can see nothing.
Yes.
It's made.
It's fine. Well, we're coming to
That's
Germany
right.
to
Better
shoot
do
it. We'll see you guys soon.
That's perfect. We should do that
Yeah.
more often.
Yeah.
It's happening. It's happening.
So comedy is always about timing, and I'm interested in it. When do you know that the scene is working? Is it like on script and you laugh about it while you're writing, while you write it, and everybody else is laughing when you read it? Or is there sometimes moment when you have to stage it on set and you notice, okay, now we have to change something? It's a little bit leaned on your question with the improvisation. Or sometimes even in the editing you notice, no, we have to turn it around somehow. So how does it work, getting the timing when you do the comedy?
That's a good question. I think I talk about the first bit, and you talk about the editing, because that's interesting too. But I think that in terms of the timing, in terms of yes, absolutely. When you sit down with the script and you have the film crew there for the first time, and no one's laughing, that's deadly. But if everybody is laughing, and, particularly people who have done many films and have been in the business and they are laughing, then you go, okay, there's hope. And also if the actors respond in that way too. And then when I was writing it with Sarah, we would laugh a lot, and we wrote a lot by email because Sarah moved over to America, so we did a lot by email. But we'd say how funny scenes were, and then when I started writing on my own afterwards, doing another few drafts, it was always tested, And then Owen and I would talk, and we would talk about what worked and what didn't. It wasn't necessarily in terms of what made us laugh. It's more, is this truthful to life? Is this true to the characters? And that then the laughter would come subsequently because of it. We wouldn't set out to make a comedy, if you like. We always saw it can be a tragedy, and it's taken very seriously, although of course there are comic moments. And Samantha's character is very funny because she's zany and eccentric. But the jokes, as it were, are in the lines and in their rapport and chemistry. But then when we got to editing, it was really interesting. Wasn't it? We were swapping scenes around, and we were taking air out of scenes to give them that sort of zing sometimes.
Yeah, no, there's almost three versions of a joke for me, or versions of the comedy that's inherently in the script. And it is on the page, and it is when the actors first read it, and then when you're on set, when you set up a shot, and when we're in a location that we can get because of budget, and it's very different to what was in my mind or in Mark's mind, or in the actor's mind. The setting is different, the blocking of the actors is different, and the magic that can bring as well breeds a new kind of comedy and offers some new opportunities to play with. And then again, you've got the third version in the post-production, in the edit, where you've got an opportunity, like Mark just said, to give maybe some more breathing space if you've got the footage. Or if you don't have the footage, sometimes you don't have enough footage, and then you're sort of scratching around going, oh, that might work, and then it really does, and it can heighten the comedy in certain ways. And I think there's definitely moments of all three of those examples that appear in our film, and I'm sure many variations of that in other films, but those are the three main ones for us. In terms of comedy, we love comedy. It's funny. What we think is funny, some people may not think is funny, but it's really beautiful now to see the film as a finished product out into the world at wonderful film festivals like yours and other film festivals in different countries and in our own countries, that it is resonating with people. The story resonates, the characters resonate, they're interesting little performances of life. And, life can be very serious, as we all know, with this last 12 months with the pandemic. but I think we need to allow ourselves the freedom to laugh and have a bit of fun and look at a serious, this is like Mark said, it could be a tragedy. It's a very serious situation in many ways. But I think what Mark and I like to do, as well as, many other filmmakers and creatives, we like to explore, maybe darker themes or serious things with a comedic outlook, because, life's too short.
Being on set can be really serious, and maybe you had that in mind as well. Like, we're sitting here as a duo doing the moderation part, and you were actually working as a duo on set. So how does that work? What do you have to do that it works smoothly on set, being two directors?
Yeah, it was interesting because Owen and I have worked a lot in the past. I work at a theatre, and Owen came and did a lot of work for us, filming our promo videos. And we talked over the years, quite a number of years, about doing a project together. And this it became Being Gavin. And by that time, we had a good working relationship and we knew each other well. I think very quickly we got into a rhythm on the set of having two directors. The actors would be given instructions by either me or Owen, but they fell in, because it wasn't just us, it was for them too. So I think 1 or 2 days, it's a bit odd, a bit strange. You're trying to work out how you run something in conjunction with someone else. But then I felt we got into a really good rhythm really quickly. Which helped by lots of cups of tea, of course. But there didn't seem to be too many crises, and the actors were really fantastic to work with, very laid back and happy, and so were the crew. To be honest, the crew were fantastic too. So we all felt like we were in a really safe place. And I remember thinking about it recently. It didn't feel like making a film. It just felt like you were sort of doing something that was great fun with an end result in mind, and that you were a bunch of people all enjoying the experience of putting something on film rather than being on a film set,
Was it in some way like a split up between you? That's like maybe the one was concentrating more on like dialogues, and the other one more on the performance, or how did you manage this part?
I think there was a lot of
very technical.
Again?
Yeah,
go on. Sorry.
No, definitely. I mean, there was a lot of crossover in terms of all of that, but I think, again, one of the rules that we set ourselves is Mark and I tried to, really work on our strengths and weaknesses and say, okay, if we ever get into a sticky situation, who gets the final say? Like, that's I'd never co-directed with anyone before, but as Mark said, we had this wonderful relationship, and we'd worked with each other so much that we really knew each other very well, and each other's styles and approaches, and where we could push and where we could pull. But one of the rules was that if it ever came to a question of performance, Mark would get 51% vote. And if it ever came to something in the shot or, something like that, technical, then I would get the 51%. And the other person just has to go, oh, that's the rule, and then walk away. And it actually worked, which was great, because I think there was a huge amount of trust. There was a huge amount of respect between us, and then between the cast, but then between the crew. And we did have a very cohesive unit. This is the second film that I've made. On the first film, again, it was a very similar situation. We shot Gavin in 15 days. We shot the first film in 20 days. They're very short, turnaround times. There's not a lot of room for fun. But we wanted to, Mark and I on this film in Being Gavin, we wanted to inject as much fun and optimism throughout everything that we did. And I think we achieved that. There were some moments that were tense, of course. There were some moments that really tested us all. Long days. It's always a long day on a film set. But when it's, no money, people are doing it for food, and the love of it, people, I mean, I know what it's like here in America. I'm sure it's similar in Germany. There's not a lot of opportunities for anyone at any level to work on a feature film. So to achieve that, to be on a working set that's actually producing a feature-length film these days, is a wonderful opportunity. So none of us wanted to mess that up. we had to leave our
No.
egos at the door, and that's easier said than done. I know some days I had my ego out front, and I had to pull it back and just, remember and trust the process. And it was great. It was a great learning experience for me.
Yeah, I agree. And we were very good, I think, Owen and I, going, yep, no, you're right, sorry. We do a bit of that.
Totally.
And of course, the day in the swimming pool when we were filming them in the swimming pool was the coldest day Sydney had for a long time, and it was raining. It was freezing, and Kath's lips were going blue. You can see it on the film; she's shaking in the water, and it's like, oh my goodness. But they do test your mettle, but at midnight or something, Owen and I go, okay, we have a hug. Let's pack up. Back tomorrow. Off we go. And again, because everybody had this idea in mind of making a film because we wanted to, no one was being paid millions to do it. No one was doing it for the glory. We just wanted to make this film. And because of that, I think there was such a camaraderie, amongst us, because we were just getting on and doing it. It's like building something together at carpentry, or building a house, or it's just putting it together because you're wanting to do it, which was wonderful.
And you built that house until the end, and now you can get it out to the people, to the audience. Hopefully, the theaters will open soon, and you can see how they're all laughing and listen to them. Thank you so much for your time. Nice. And actually, I like that idea with the 51%.
Yeah, I was wanting to say that too. So
I
good that you
talk about it later.
Yeah, we're talking about it later.
You have to get it in writing. Make sure you get it in writing.
I'm writing it down. That's right.
Once you have it on camera.
Yeah, 51%. I like the idea, and
that's right.
It's a good idea to work together. I think so.
Thank you so much, and all the best to you and your film. It was a pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
Thank you so much. Hope everyone enjoyed the film. Have a great festival.
Yeah, thank you very much. Bye-bye.
See you guys. Bye. Thank you.